Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Well, not welcome back. Sorry, I'm thinking about my YouTube videos. Um, I am attempting to go live on Facebook and IG today. So it's going to be a little strange. I'm looking at two cameras. So hi, Facebook. Hey, thanks for joining. I probably won't be able to be as interactive. I'm trying to go live on two devices, and this is my first time doing this. Typically, I'm just live on, hey, Key. Typically, I'm just live on IG, but today I decided to try to do IG and Facebook, so we'll see how this goes. I'm trying to do double duty. I was planning to do my Ask a Therapist series like every Tuesday or Thursday, but this Tuesday was ridiculous. I didn't get to get on, so I wanted to make sure I got on today. So if I'm looking at two cameras, I do apologize. Like I said, I'm doing it on Instagram. Thank you. On Instagram and Facebook. So this may be a quick one. We'll see. But it was an interesting question I got a few weeks ago. And so I wanted to make sure I addressed it. And then if you have feedback or anything like that, feel free to leave comments. But thank you everybody for joining. So the question this week was, how should I handle a married woman / coworker who hits me up just for sex and calls me baby? Should, so that was the question. Like, how do I handle a married woman or coworker who hits me up for sex, and calls me baby? So when I read this, I was like, man, I should have asked for some follow-up details, just because I feel like for me to answer this question, like, effectively, I'm going to have to make a lot of assumptions. So I'm going to kind of go through those assumptions because I want everybody to be clear where I'm thinking, where my head is as I'm answering this question. But then along with that, just kind of give some tips on how you may be able to handle this situation. So the first assumption I'm going to make is that you don't want to report her to HR, which I completely get. Like, I am not in corporate America. I have not been in corporate America probably ever, if you really look at my career, but definitely in the last like 7 years, I haven't had like an actual 9-to-5 job where I have to go to when there's actually an HR department or anything like that. It's been a very long time since I've actually worked in any type of corporate environment. So based on the fact that you're sending me this letter about your coworker makes me think that you don't want to necessarily go to HR, and that you are hoping you can handle it on your own, which I get. I understand, as much as we would like for HR to be the go-to when you're having issues with sexual harassment or anything like that. I know that that's not always the case. Whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. It's not always the best option for you. So I get it. So my assumption is you don't want to go to HR. So for that assumption, what I would, something I would tell you to try is to either just document it, like make sure you're keeping track of it. Most stuff at this point is via text message or email. So make sure that you're keeping track of all of that, that you're actually recognizing, like, if she does send you things that are inappropriate, that you're keeping a documentation of that. And along with that, I would probably just confide with someone that I work with, that I trust. So if there's a colleague that you do trust, that you feel like you can talk to, then I would confide in them, just to kind of, let them know what's going on and that you are uncomfortable and that type of stuff. The second assumption I have is that you have not slept with this woman. So the only reason why I assume that is because you sent a letter saying, what do you do about this situation? But the way that you worded it, how should I handle a married coworker who hits me up for just sex and calls me baby? I was kind of wondering if you have had sex with her. So if you have, stop doing that. That's the first thing. But if you haven't, like I said, my assumption is that you haven't, and maybe she's just very inappropriate. But yes, if you have slept with her, it's perfectly fine to let her know that you are not interested and you would like for that part of y'all's relationship to stop. But I'm going to answer the question with the assumption that you have not slept with her. The third assumption I'm going to make is that you have not told her, maybe directly, maybe you passively brought it up. You've kind of tried to let her know that you felt uncomfortable, but you didn't get the response that you wanted. But the fact that she's calling you baby, the fact that she's continuing makes me think that, and because I kind of know when you're in that position, you may not be the most forceful that you want to be, because you don't want to necessarily be rude or cause any problems. So that's why I made that assumption, that you may have passively asked her to stop, but you haven't directly been like, look, this is not okay with me. So with that being said, so again, I'm going to go over the question again, just because I know people are joining. The question that I got a couple weeks ago was, how should I handle a married coworker? It's a married woman coworker who hits me up for sex and calls me baby. So the first thing I would like to say is you need to make it clear. So again, you cannot do the passiveness. You can't do the flirting. You have to be very, very clear that I am not interested in anything with you. And so sometimes people really struggle with that because they're worried about, well, I don't want to be rude. I don't want to trigger anything. I don't want it to become a problem. So that's kind of why I went into that first part about making sure you have documentation and making sure that you have at least confided in someone else about it. But yeah, so make it very clear that you are not interested. Make it like as plain as you can make it. Stop talking to me about sex. Stop asking me anything like that. Do not call me baby. I am not okay with that. It makes me uncomfortable. I need you to stop. So that's the first thing, is that you want to be 100% clear. And again, that's with the assumption that y'all have never slept together. But even if y'all have slept together, it's perfectly fine for you to decide that you don't want to sleep with her anymore. So if you have to just tell her directly, like, I know that this was something that we did in the past, but I don't want to do that anymore. The best way to cut something off is to be direct about it, because when we're passive, that person thinks the door is still open and they're going to keep trying to test your boundaries. The next thing you want to do is stop responding altogether. So when she does make comments, if she is continuing to just cross that boundary and pretend like everything is okay, make sure that you just don't respond. I wouldn't say, if she sent something, a text message, if she makes a comment in passing, I will completely ignore it and just pretend like she doesn't exist. I get that if y'all work together, you may still have to interact with this person. And so I would be very short in my interactions if I needed to. If you need to have a conversation, if you have to do something work related, again, stick to that. Don't even address the other stuff, but even be short. And as far as like, get it done and leave. It's no need to be friendly at this point, because if you're really that uncomfortable, then you don't need to be necessarily friendly and try to make her feel better and, oh, it's okay. And, I can kind of be playful. Until it stops, there's no playfulness. You just have to do the work you have to do and then leave. And even though I made the first assumption that you don't want to go to HR, if all of that fails, and if it's been a certain amount of time that you have attempted to resolve this, and you've attempted to, let this person know clearly that you're not interested in it, they need to stop, you probably will have to document it with HR. This doesn't mean that there has to be, that's up to HR to handle it and to deal with it. And it's supposed to be anonymous as far as I understand. But if you've tried everything else and you've truly tried to stop it from happening and have really set your foot down and not been kind of wishy-washy on how you interact with this person, then your final resolve may just be going to HR. And again, I understand the reasons why you may not want to, but this is about you and your comfort level and your ability to be able to do your job. And if this is affecting any of those things, then it's your right to report it and try to get it taken care of. So I hope that was helpful. Again, if you have questions, I'm going to post it in my stories again, probably in the next couple of days, so I can get more questions. But I'll be on here. I'm going to do, I think, Facebook and Instagram. I have just been doing Instagram, but I think I'm going to do Facebook and Instagram. Ask a therapist. You could just ask me anything and I'll give some information. This is not therapy. This is just me sharing, what I know and kind of my opinion based on my education and my experience. So again, thank you for joining. If you're still around, or if you happen to see this later, I am holding an online event on February 14th. Yes, Valentine's Day. And it's going to be amazing. I actually did a live event last year. I can't remember when, but last year sometime. And I had about 50 people show up, and we talked about everything related to love, sex, and dating, and specifically the falsehoods and the beliefs that we have about love, sex, and dating that we need to overcome in order for us to have the type of relationship or dating life that we want. So the name of the event is Everything You Think About Love. Everything you think you knew about love is wrong. What if everything you think you knew about love is wrong? And tickets are on sale right now. It will be an online webinar. If you cannot make it on Valentine's Day, it will be a replay available, but I will be with a beverage. It might be wine, it might be water. We'll see what's happening, and some snacks, and we'll have a really intensive conversation just about the myths related to sex and relationships, and then how to overcome those myths once you've kind of identified the source, and once you've figured out, that may not be true or may not be true for you, and then how you create the type of love, sex, dating life that you desire. So check that out. I'll put the link in the comments, but it's also in my bio on Instagram. It's bit.ly/wronglove. The letter W is capitalized, so capital W, wrong love. The rest is all lowercase. And that will be happening on Valentine's Day. So I hope you can join. And again, if you have any questions that you want me to answer on Ask a Therapist, feel free to send it to my inbox. I've been getting a lot of long letters. And so for that, I kind of put that on my podcast. I might post it on here sometimes, but it's mainly on Room for Relations. But if you have like just a short question or something like that, I'll be happy to answer that on here. So thank you guys for joining. I appreciate you. And I will talk to y'all very soon.